Since I like going back and listening to some of my old thoughts, I'm currently in the process of re-uploading some of my older videos in order to make them more compliant with YouTube's policies on reused content. But since I didn't want to do a lot of editing, here is the audio from my original review for this series.
I don't know why more people don't watch Better Call Saul. On top of being a Breaking Bad prequel series, the show is consistently critically acclaimed. It may be one of the best rated shows on television, and deservedly so. The acting is top notch, the directing is fantastic, the writing is so fucking outstanding, it's out of this world, and the story is incredibly compelling. Yet I never hear anyone actually talking about it. So I wanted to take the time to share some love on my favorite show currently on television. Now I know some people were pretty underwhelmed by Better Call Saul's first season. It just clearly wasn't as exciting or as sensationally violent as Breaking Bad, but that's not a fair comparison. Breaking Bad, one of the best shows, if not the best show to ever air on television, was coming off of a thrilling series finale. And Better Call Saul needed to make an identity for itself. It may technically be a prequel series, but it's more of a spiritual successor to Breaking Bad, or a companion piece. It complements the original show while retaining its own individuality. Breaking Bad was a neo-western crime drama, and while Better Call Saul also has crime drama elements to it, the show places a huge emphasis on legal proceedings and lawyering to better highlight the new characters this show is focusing on. And in between the crime, the drama, and the procedurals, Vince Gilligan loves to highlight everyday, normal, mundane shit. Some people may find the ordinariness of certain sequences to be rather dull, but I eat that shit up. One of my favorite scenes in Season 5 involves an ant pile eating spilled ice cream. It goes on for like 5 minutes for no reason. I love it. So even though Better Call Saul doesn't have the same pizzazz as Breaking Bad, it's still really fucking good in its own right. Better Call Saul is a show that has gotten better and better with each and every season, and Season 5 is the best that this show has ever been. The stakes are sky high, the suspense is incredibly tense, the violence is ramping up, and we're getting awfully close to the Breaking Bad time frame. Past seasons have sprinkled in some Breaking Bad references, but Season 5 really stood on its own since we all know where this story is leading to. See, Better Call Saul isn't just about the tragic story of Jimmy McGill becoming Saul Goodman, it also chronicles the blossoming rivalry between Gus Fring and the cartel. I used to think that this secondary storyline existed because Vince Gilligan, or any other creative person involved with the show, didn't have enough faith in Jimmy's storyline being compelling enough on its own for audiences to watch. And I usually found myself a bit disappointed because, for as engaging as it was, the plot involving Gus Fring, Mike Ehrmantraut, and Nacho Varga had absolutely nothing to do with Jimmy McGill. But now that I can see the bigger picture, I'm glad that this storyline exists, because in Season 5, these two plot lines are finally intersecting. Watching these plots and characters finally cross paths is extremely satisfying, especially if you're like me and you've been watching this show from the beginning. I know these characters have technically interacted before, but definitely not as much as we see here. Now I can't wait to see how the final season ties Better Call Saul into Breaking Bad. We know where most of these characters are going to end up, but we don't know how they're going to get there. And the journey has been quite a ride. Every main character in Better Call Saul has a negative character arc. Jimmy, Kim, Nacho, and Mike are all good people at heart. But just like everyone else, they have their own individual faults. And in Season 5, we see these characters give in to their faults more than they ever have before. Nacho wanted to protect his father from the cartel, but now he's basically in bed with both sides of a cartel war. Mike wanted to protect the memory of his son, who was a good cop, but now he's resorted to a life in the criminal underworld. Jimmy used to slip into a few minor crimes, but now his Saul Goodman persona has made him a friend of the cartel. And Kim had such a bright career ahead of her, but she's so in denial about how toxic Jimmy has become that she's lost control over her own life, whether she wants to admit it or not. Instead of these characters changing for the better, they're all ending up in a worse state than where they began. But unlike the unearned character progression of, say, Daenerys Targaryen in the final season of Game of Thrones, which felt more like a hard left turn, the downfalls of Better Call Saul's characters are slow, gradual, and believable, which makes their plight feel all the more tragic. Especially since we don't know the fate of Kim Wexler or Nacho Varga. Do they live on? Do they die? Do they get the chance to better themselves? Neither of them are in Breaking Bad, so we won't know until the series finale. And the actors involved do a fantastic job of bringing these characters to life, as they always do. Bob Odenkirk is amazing, and I love seeing the dichotomy between his Jimmy and Saul personas, especially as they drift even further apart. Jonathan Banks is outstanding, and I don't know why he's not involved with more projects. Giancarlo Esposito is awesome as a younger and less collected version of Gustavo Fring, and Rhea Seehorn is the heart of this show. She outshines everyone that she shares a scene with. Kim Wexler's downfall is probably even more tragic than Jimmy's. We all knew Jimmy would inevitably become Saul Goodman, and it makes sense to learn that he was a bad egg with a checkered past from the start. But Kim Wexler was a bright and brilliant lawyer with a well-paying job, who also happened to do pro bono work out of the kindness of her heart. We see her relationship with Jimmy have this push and pull. She does have the ability to make Jimmy a better person, but Jimmy just keeps slipping back into his old ways. And as a result, Jimmy actually makes Kim a worse person. It's quite sad, but I absolutely love Seehorn's performance. Seehorn, along with everyone else, should all be winning Emmys left and right. All of them. They deserve it. But the absolute best addition to this cast, and the standout performer in Season 5, was definitely Tony Dalton as Lalo Salamanca. Tony Dalton is fucking great. He's so fun and charming, but he can also be incredibly intimidating. I didn't think I was going to care about Lalo Salamanca when he was introduced in Season 4, but he really shines as the central antagonist in this season. He's easily the best villain Better Call Saul has ever had. Maybe even one of the best villains in the entirety of Breaking Bad. And that's a bold statement. But Better Call Saul's 5th season is some of the best television ever, point blank. If you like Breaking Bad, just like any other normal person, you'll enjoy Better Call Saul Season 5. So please, I implore you, if you've never seen the show before, or if you were underwhelmed by the first season, keep watching. This series is outstanding. Just don't pay attention to the weird marketing material. I once saw a video of Lalo Salamanca making a delicious taco, and it looked like the most unappetizing taco I've ever seen. Thankfully, the show is much better than its marketing campaign. So, Better Call Saul is only initially disappointing if you immediately compare it to the success of Breaking Bad. But the quality gets so much better as the series goes on, and the quality was never even bad to begin with. I loved Season 3 since it really focused on Jimmy's relationship with his brother Chuck, but Season 5 is easily the best. So I hope Better Call Saul can stick the landing, unlike Game of Thrones, which completely broke my heart. But I have faith in Vince Gilligan. He's a remarkable storyteller. Gilligan knows how to craft a creative story that pleases his fan base without also giving in to simple fan servicey moments. Better Call Saul is just compelling as hell in nearly every aspect. It expands on Breaking Bad lore while also focusing on its own central characters. I'm pretty sure most of the series is on Netflix, so do yourself a favor and binge the whole thing if you've never seen it before. It'll be a satisfying experience getting to watch the show from beginning to end, as you witness a good series turn into a great one. Because I would likely give Better Call Saul Season 5 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching.